Yep. Give me a nod when you're ready.
Like
Shooter's ready. Stand by.
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon. I'm Matt Gundlach, and I have a friend and previous guest to the podcast as my co-host, Greg Jones. Just to give a quick update on Greg, and I'm sure we'll get into it some more, but since leaving the military, Greg has accepted a position at G Code as the Chief Operations Officer. But tonight, we have a special guest, the owner of G Code Holsters, Scott Evans. Scott is one of those success stories after leaving the Marine Corps and proves that if you have the drive and proper mindset, you can achieve anything. We're going to talk about his time in the military and then talk about more about his company, G Code Holsters. So, Scott, before we get into everything, can you kind of just give yourself a quick introduction?
Well, I did a full enlistment in the Marine Corps. Went in 1987, and after the Gulf War, my enlistment was up, so I got out and had about $800 in my pocket, 2 kids, wife, and not enough money to go back home to New Jersey. So stuck around the area, around Jacksonville, and spent a lot of time doing odd jobs, washing windows, cutting grass, working minimum wage jobs. And but one thing led to another, and I was able to turn what at the time was a hobby. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was kind of immersed in trying to fix my gear. It never seemed like it was the right thing for what we were doing. And I was a 03, by the way. Last duty station was Camp Lejeune with 3-2. I did spend some time with Marine Security Force Battalion, and but all along the way there was always this issue with the gear, 782 gear. It didn't matter what you were doing. Here's your gear, make it work. Shut up. And so I was always fixing it up. My buddies would see what I had done and ask me to, help them with it. And then when we deployed to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, I worked on a lot of gear when we were on ship. So when I got out, a lot of my buddies still came by the house, and I'd work on their gear now and again. Then it became friends of friends. And then friends of friends of friends. So it became a hobby that paid for itself. And, one thing led to another. A living room business became a garage business. Then I moved into a trailer, then a barn, 5 additions to that barn. Then I had to rent a commercial building down the street from the barn, and that became 2 locations that we were operating out of, and eventually landed here in Burgall. Now we're in a 60,000 square foot facility, and fully loaded machine shop. We do all our own injection molding. We do the thermal sheet molding. We do CNC sewing. We full manual sewing. We build all our own injection molds, all our own thermal sheet molds, and so it's a full-blown, full-service shop. Now we can react super quickly if somebody has a need. We can solve that problem and get a product in their hands pretty fast.
No, that's pretty awesome. I mean, and like one first thing I want to say is I'm a 3-2 alumni as well.
Okay.
I was a 3-2 Kilo Company
All right.
back in '05 and '06. And
I was India, so
okay. Yep. There was always like a rivalry between Kilo and India where there would be company on company fights every now and again. It was always great.
yeah.
um India company had it kind of rough out there, and it was kind of just like cowboys and Indians for them out in Usaba where they were at, and they had no higher leadership, so they just got away with whatever they wanted half the time. And then Kilo company, we were directly under the supervision of the battalion the entire time, so
Oh
kind
yeah.
of sucked for us, but we did a lot more operational requirements whenever we were over there in Iraq. um
Okay.
and then second, like, you talk about how fast you guys, can solve a problem and get a product out there.
Right.
Back in 2017, I was overseas in Bahrain at the time, and me and a couple friends, we kind of got called up at the last minute because of some qualifications that we had. Two of them were JTACs. I was a joint fires observer, and we were going to go work with a SF group out in the middle of nowhere. And like, essentially it was plain clothes, and we had to carry concealed. And it was
Okay.
just like, okay, well, we don't have any of the gear for this, and they don't have the gear for us out there. So like I called somebody up that I know that worked at G Code at the time, or the wife of somebody that worked at G Code, that I met her through the competition shootings realm. And I
Okay.
was just like, hey, Amy Lynn, uh, can you talk to your husband about getting us some holsters, some concealed carry holsters? And I hate to do this, but I need them within a 2-week period. And by the way, I'm already overseas. And we got like it was like next day service. They got the order in, and they got them out to us immediately. And like before we left, we were able to get our holsters and get over on that mission, no problem. So like I've seen how fast like the company can work to take care of people in overseas.
Well, I always saw it as an obligation for any unit that was deploying or already forward deployed to put them at the head of the line. And so we always wanted to, you know how it is. You never lose that connection back to the guys who are still doing the job. And if they're out there and need something, we want to help.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel you there. Like, you never lose touch with where you came from. And like, yeah, we have where we came from, where we were born, grew up, all that kind of stuff. But the Marine Corps has that special place in all our hearts. Even though like whether you did 4 years or you did 20 years, or like Greg, he did 27 years. Like, there are times where it was fucking miserable. But that's not the times that you remember. It's the people.
Right.
It's less about the organization, and it's about taking care of the people and doing what you can do for those who may not have the aperture to do what they need to do or get what they need to get. So it's like, hey, I have this ability to take care of you. Let me take care of you.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And well, I'm glad we were able to help you out. And
No, I really appreciate that. It was great. They work great.
what time frame was that?
This was in August of 2017.
Okay.
So, yeah. But kind of moving along here, what would you say your biggest challenges as a business owner within the firearms industry?
Uh, yeah, there's definitely a lot of challenges there. When we started, the space was not quite as crowded as it is now. Um, so staying current, staying in front of the pack, or at least being in those who are being considered, to provide something or create a solution. Uh, that's one of the big challenges, getting the word out. we market mainly online, direct to end user, through a web store. The political climate has changed with regard to anything in our industry. We don't get the same mileage that we used to when we make a post or an announcement or even in our paid advertisement. But
I
I mean,
can see that. I can definitely see that because like even my podcast on Instagram and Facebook, I would say it's relatively censored. Shoot, one of my best friends, he owns a steel target company,
right,
and he has those same type of challenges where it's like, the algorithm kind of, it only allows people that are already following you to see your stuff. So being able to reach out and seeing, reaching a new group of people, um it's always trying to stay ahead of that and like tagging people to share your stuff. So
right.
I can definitely see that being a big challenge.
Yeah, so getting the word out to I guess, to the next generation of customers is difficult. Now, we have a very high percentage of repeat customers, so I'm thankful for that. And but
I
you know,
actually have one
also,
coming in tomorrow.
yeah.
I do. I ordered a holster 2 weeks
Oh
ago.
no.
I was like, I need to get a new concealed carry holster, one that'll accept a red dot sight and my light. And so I was like, okay. Went over to G Code and I was like, okay, let me figure out exactly which one I need for the gun that I'm carrying. And so yeah, that comes in tomorrow actually.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
But so, as a business owner, you always want to kind of have a vision, and visions change over time as like where your vision was when you first started compared to where it is now. I'm sure it's like completely different. If not, it's evolved into what it originally was and just gotten, went to the next level. But what is your vision for the company and what do you plan to do to stay relevant within the industry?
well, I think the vision has got to include us staying true to our core principles. And you know, I never wanted to go out and make shiny things that people would buy because they look cool. I always wanted genuine solutions, something that really solved an actual problem. And with that, uh, I wanted to do it with innovation. I didn't want to just be one of many. I wanted a better answer. And but along with that, I wanted quality. Everything has to be the best of the best. And again, that connection back to the guys who are using this, um, or potentially the guys who are using this, they could be downrange, and I don't ever want to be the weak link in their chain. Um, our stuff should be reliable. It must be reliable, and so that's certainly part of our vision going forward. We've always been American made. Uh, every business owner wants continued growth. Uh, they say if you're not growing, you're dying, and uh, so as far as going forward, we're actively looking to introduce some new markets. We have a select group of products that we're selling through distribution right now. So like RSR or Chattanooga Shooting or Sports South. And then they can sell and distribute to gun shop owners and big box stores like Bass Pro and things like that. And that's kind of a new part to our journey. We've not done that before. And but also more of what we do. I guess I want to turn this into a full spectrum solutions company for the tactical gear side. whether it's a dog handler, of course, concealed carry, civilian concealed carry, military users, law enforcement. So we have lots of room to grow in and become this full spectrum supplier.
Well, one of the things that I noticed, like just going through your site, is so I mean, you just don't do holsters. You have the mag pouches and the belts, and you even have like a competition belt setup, like for those guys who are getting into competition. But one of the other aspects that I found really interesting as I was going through is like your plate carrier, for instance, and like how you can, you just don't sell the plate carrier, but you can also get additional like type of pouches that just go right onto it and zip onto it, and like you can configure it to however you need, and like, you know it's no longer the age of you must wear your magazine pouches like this and they must be
Right.
formed over here. No, you could put it to wherever it is going to best utilize, it's going to best help you to solve a problem that you may have to solve in the future and get you comfortable, and kind of just put it to what's best for you as a person. And
Right.
I think that's pretty ingenious the way you sell some of that stuff. And, you could take it on and take it off as you need it.
Well, eh, yeah, and in order to meet uh, the needs of a large swath of our community, I mean, we have to be able to consider, what is their level of training, what's their mission, um, what's their experience, and all of that makes sense as to what their selection should be. And look, I mean, I was O3 grunt, so I know a little bit up to that point, but I wasn't a Navy SEAL or an SF guy who's downrange, and what they need. The only way I know is if I listen to them and provide something that they ask for. Uh,
Do you
so
have regular relations with some of those guys and kind of get insight and product reviews from them?
all the time, all the time. In fact, our plate carrier was designed by a former Green Beret Special Forces guy. Dennis Downey is his name, and he he's a contractor. He instructs out at MARSOC right now from time to time, and but I mean, he had multiple deployments overseas and years downrange. Uh, so, of course, when I was in, we didn't have plate carriers. We had a
Hmm.
flak jacket
Yes.
and wouldn't stop a BB gun, but
Those
we
old
had you had to
Vietnam
wear it
types.
anyway. And so I had no personal experience downrange with a plate carrier, and but he certainly did.
Hmm.
And uh, so he was telling me about all of the things that would make a great plate carrier, and I just put him in charge of designing this. Go for broke, make it the ultimate. So our new plate carrier is super light. It's made of materials that absorb very little water, so it's not going to gain weight from perspiration or even if you get in the water. It'll fit your SAPI cut, your shooter's cut. The internal bag is it's an elastic type material that forms to the bag, so it's not bouncing around. And that's encased in a heavier nylon casing that holds everything in place. It can be cinched tight. Um, Total adjustment in the shoulders, very light pads, everything's low profile. Uh, Cable management was forefront in the beginning of this design. So no matter what comms you're running, what other systems you have, you can get those cables locked in nice and tight and route them however you want. And so an awful lot went into that plate carrier. It was 2 years in development and probably 30 prototypes.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. And it's it is. I mean, if you've spent a lot of time in a plate carrier, you need to get one of these on and give me your feedback.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. Like, and I mean, I don't know what I don't know. And like, I started out in the days of the interceptor vest where you had to like fold it over and you had, there was one point where all our plates or or our SAPI plates got recalled and they were like, hey, take these ESAPIs and these things don't even fit in there to where you can cinch it down. And then
Right,
we went to the MTVR and you you're in a vehicle with with this flak jacket on and it's not getting out of the vehicle, it's falling out of the vehicle because it's just so bulky.
right.
And
Wait, Matt, I gotta butt in here because I might have to call you a boot. Do you not remember like the old like Somalia flak jackets
yes,
where they
I
have Velcro and snaps and like the weird elastic shit on the shoulders that didn't even accept?
and it had like that turtleneck on it.
Yeah, and the only way that you could keep your flak jacket closed was by having your war belt on your LBV. You do remember that,
I
right?
remember that. We wore that in boot camp in
Okay.
like 2002.
You jumped in plate carriers. When I got a plate carrier, I think I was a captain in 2004 in Iraq, where I got a plate carrier, and I literally thought I was a Navy SEAL just because I had like plate. But anyway, I'll turn it back over to you. I just had to do a boot check on you. That's all.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not as old as you.
Correct.
But no, and then in 2010 we went on the Mule and we did have the plate carrier and that thing was awesome. Like just like the mobility that you have in something like that and how light it is and how well it breathes. And then like going into what I do now, like I know what a quality plate carrier versus a poor quality plate carrier is. Like I bought one, a friend designed a plate carrier, and I think I paid like $80 for it. Well, one, it didn't breathe. Like it held in all the heat. And that's one aspect I really didn't realize how important it is. It needs to breathe properly or
Right.
you're just going to overheat because like I was doing a tactical games competition and my body was just overheating from this too. Like the corduras started ripping and I'm just like, well, this isn't any good. And so then I upgraded to something else and it works well. It's comfortable, but again, I feel like it doesn't breathe well enough. And
Well,
whenever it traps in that heat, your body overheats.
yeah, and that was one of the goals Dennis had with this plate carrier. It was designed so it does have an airflow channel uh, on the inside of both bags, and then there's a heavy mesh in there that breathes really well. So you do get the airflow, so you get that heat away from your body.
And
And
that's pretty awesome. Like I think that's one thing like most people don't even think about whenever they buy this stuff. Like you're
right,
wearing it for long periods of time. You
yes,
don't know what you're going to do and if that heat gets trapped in, like you're going to go down.
yeah.
But the going back to tactical gear and holsters in that whole space, there's a lot of competition there. How would you say that G Code has set itself apart from other companies within the industry?
Uh, I would have to say, uh, with our innovation and with our quality combined, some of the first over the years for us is we were the first all modular holster where you had the holster shell and you could put a paddle on it. You could put a in the waistband adapter on it. You could put a belt slide on it. You could mount it to a leg platform. Uh, this concept of all modular did not exist in a production product when we offered it. Another item that we were first with is this quick attach system where you can take your holster and you can say attach it to your belt, but then you can take it off and move it to your vest. And we were down at Fort Bragg talking with one of the SF groups there. They were asking for samples of our gear. So I went down and delivered it personally so I could talk with them and see what they wanted. And they had asked for something that would go on the vest, and they also asked for a leg holster. But one of the old guys there, he came over to me and goes, what I really need is to take this holster off my hip and put it on my chest. And then when we get out of the vehicles, because he talked about riding around in the vehicles, when they were in there tight, you couldn't draw from your hip if you needed the weapon. And he couldn't use his rifle from the weapon either. This was what he was telling me. So he wanted to be able to take his holster and move it from one position to the other. When he got out of the vehicle, he wanted to put it back on his hip, and didn't want to have to go through a whole rigmarole, and he didn't want to have to wear two holsters. So that's when we came up with our RTI system. This was about 2004. And at that point, there were no other quick disconnect systems out there. Later, Blackhawk came out with something that looked like a hockey puck, a bunch of little spikes on it. Later, Safariland came out with this giant side squeeze buckle. And Blaytech has something new out now. So, I mean, that was another one of our firsts. We were the first in the industry to offer a lifetime warranty. Everything we sell is made with U.S. sourced, all American made product. And I wanted people to have confidence in it, even though we didn't have any reputation at all at the time. And even selling to the military guys, we gave a full lifetime warranty. And who gives stuff to Marines and says, here's a lifetime warranty, right?
It's going to get replaced.
Yeah. But we did. And now everyone does it. And so these are other ways we've affected this industry. And keep in mind, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. And when I started, the original founder of Blaytech was doing some out west in Washington State. Safariland was making some holsters, but it wasn't thermoplastic for them back then. It was all leather. And there was a guy in Arizona who made something called the Gundlach holster. And I was on the East Coast doing my thing, just trying to make the best gear I could. And so innovation combined with quality, focusing on real solutions, not just a quick sale.
That's awesome.
I guess that's the answer.
No, and I mean, that's important. And I think you hit the nail on the head with that.
It's time for me to jump in, Matt.
It is.
I am boot to you on hosting podcasts. So, I mean, this is Scott's podcast, but as I listen to this, well, first off, thanks for letting me co-host. It's a nice transition as I transition from Marine to civilian, and certainly, hopefully, I can do this with you a couple of more times. But I mean, like, why did I take this job with Scott? Like, listen to his story. It's just amazing. How awesome is this journey going to be? Retired colonel working for former corporal, both 03s. I'm like riding his coattails. He got out. He's a better man than I am. He got out because he wanted to spend more time with his family. I was too scared for that. I wanted that government paycheck, and now I'm just going to try to help him take it to the next level, because what an absolutely great product. And why would I not say yes? What Scott's probably not happy to hear that my office is also 15 minutes away from my hunting property. So I promised Scott during deer season that I will not try to scam on you too bad. But again, he gave me the tour. I've been around, just great folks in the facility. I can't. Scott was showing me like the zippers on pouches. You will never, with G-Code products, you're never gonna have that little tab that pulls off a zipper. Just the details are absolutely amazing, and I was just I'm just so honored to let Scott help me lead his company into the future. So Scott, again, thanks for hiring me, and I got a lot of work to do, and I hope in 3 or 4 months I'm still working for you. You haven't shit canned me. But you do have a lot of holsters and a lot of neat holsters. Out of all those lines, could you talk a little bit about which holsters are best for competition, duty, or concealed carry?
Sure. A little bit of what I said before about, your level of training, your experience, what are you going to do with this product? Has a lot to do what the right answer is for what you need. As far as niches, we do have tactical rigs. We have our XSR holster, which is made of a heavier Kydex. It's 125 thick, very strong. We can put, camouflage laminates on it, things that reduce the signature of the holster under IR light, so it's not as visible, with night vision. And then there's a whole series of attachments, for tactical. Our GCA 200, which is kind of it's a belt mount, but it puts the grip of the gun right at the level of the top of your belt. Our Phenom and that series, Phenom Stealth, that is really set up for concealed carry, comfortable carry all day long, easy on, easy off, but very secure. A lot of neat features with that holster. Our Synchron is kind of a hybrid where it is able to be mounted on the waistband or in the waistband. You can use it for concealed carry, or you can use it for range work or, tactical. All our holsters now are available for certain gun-like combos. I really liken holsters to shoes as far as what's the right choice. You and I could go out and I would pick a certain pair of shoes because it fits my feet better, and I don't know. If I don't do much running anymore, but if I were running, I might pick a different shoe than you would, and neither one's a wrong answer. It's just personal preference, and what you're doing matters in your choices. So we try to have something in every category, so we can give you the best solution to whatever your problem is. And then if we don't have something, we get to work and make something.
Cool. I'm interested in the tactical fuzz. I think and you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but you had mentioned, and I think the two are related, low observability with NVGs, because the biggest thing that's coming out of Russia-Ukraine war and the Palestine-Israel wars, when you get into major combat ops against near-peer competitor, they got NVGs and lasers too. Is that tactical fuzz going to help? If I've got that holster with some tactical fuzz on that, is that going to help reduce reflection in the IR environment?
Yes, it is. Straight up plastic reflects well, it reflects strongly in the IR spectrum. So if you're looking at somebody with nods and they have a lot of plastic items on, it's kind of like looking at the invisible man. So you can see those things glowing. The original concept for this was someone came to me from Marine Corps Cpl, I think is what it was called. Bob Greer was his name. He came and started talking to us about getting a plastic that would not shine as much when being observed with night vision, because they were just finding guys in Iraq who had Russian night vision and all of that. Or this is what I was told. So we started with the plastic manufacturers looking for an additive to put in that would reduce the reflective signature. And I mean, such a thing exists, but it was not something we could acquire the overhead and the minimum purchase quantities to get that material was way too high. So I didn't want to give up. I wanted to look for another solution. So we started looking for items that we could laminate to the outside of the material. That way we still had the strength and the formability of the Kydex, but we were able to put actual laminates on the outside. When you see multicam on the outside of our holsters, it is actual multicam. And it has all of the features that that camouflage pattern provides. So it's in our tactical fuzz, it also reduces the signature, and it does provide a comfort barrier if you're carrying it in the waistband. It also looks cool. And
Scott, does anybody else have that?
other folks are starting to laminate their holsters, but the process we use is proprietary.
Okay.
And the adhesion that we get between the laminated material and the holster is better than anything else I've seen. We very rarely have anything delaminate. And
so another G code first.
Well, yeah, I guess so. And
can you talk about, we were earlier today when I was at the office, we were talking a little bit about, I think the is it Paradigm series of holsters out? Can you talk about that? Because that's sort of a newer option on a multi-fit holster. Can you talk about that as well, in case you concealed carry, but you have, you're you're sort of one of these, like, I'm admittedly one of these guys that's not, I mean, I understand the ballistics between 45 and 9 mil and 357, but sometimes I still just want to carry a gap with a big round, just to make me feel better. Can you talk about how those holsters might benefit somebody like me that's got multiple pistols and multiple everyday carries?
Well, absolutely. I mean, just say you were having a range session and you're going to work with 3 different pistols. Well, this would be a perfect holster for that range session, because you would be able to holster the weapon, do your shooting, grab your next firearm, and it would still work in the same holster. You wouldn't have to take your belt off or anything. Another use for it, a lot of shooting instructors, especially if they're dealing with first-time shooters, they often show up with a holster that's not appropriate for the training. They'll get there and they'll have a nylon bag type holster, and they just won't get anything out of the training. This holster is a great solution for those guys providing such training. They could have some on hand, and then if somebody shows up with a inappropriate holster, they can still train. Another benefit was our gun shop customers, our dealers. Uh, uh, my son was going around to some of the local gun shops. He had graduated from college, came back home, was doing some work with us in the shop, and he decided he was going to go out and sign up some dealers. So he went out and he visited every gun shop around Wilmington, North Carolina. They were all familiar with the product line. They all loved it, but none of them carried it. And he's like, what? Why aren't you carrying it? And the answer was pretty simple. It was, you have too many options, too many SKUs for us to carry in our little tiny gun shop.
Got it.
And they showed my son's name's Mike. They showed Mike this other brand of holster, and it was a multi-fit holster, but it was god awful. And it actually seemed unsafe to me. So he came back with that and said, hey, there's a real opportunity here, but we got to do a better job than this.
Yeah.
And over the years, every holster we make, we take the actual firearm, we digitize it, we capture that geometry, we build a mold, we test the holster, we make adjustments if we need to. So over the years, we have a tremendous library of digital images, CAD files on all of the handguns. So we started overlaying all of this geometry to create common catch points in the holster, so you could still get a very good fit, good retention, and it would accept a gun with an optic. You get a good firing grip on the weapon prior to the draw. Did have a range of adjustment built into it, and we sold it with on the waistband attachment and in the waistband attachment, and it's ambidextrous.
Wow.
And
So if I buy a Paradigm, all I got to know is large frame or small frame.
right.
And then I get all that stuff, regardless if I'm left-handed or right-handed, or if I want to do inside the waistband or outside the waistband for relatively price. I mean, those are not that expensive, right? I mean, that's where
they're a $29.95 retail price.
Woo.
And same lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
And trust me, I would not sell it if it was not a good holster.
Yeah.
And now it's not as great as our $100 Phenom Stealth.
Sure.
Absolutely not. But it's not dangerous. It's a good functioning holster.
Sure.
But
you're right. I mean, all the reasons that you mentioned, whether you're starting off, you're not sure, or you're a coach, you're teaching a class and you want to have extras, or you're just a multiple gun guy like many of us, and you just want a functional holster for range day. I mean, it's certainly a good option. Maybe, yeah. So that's pretty awesome.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
All right. So my quick question, you make all these holsters and everything, and you talk about like, getting CAD files and building profiles on each weapon system for specific holsters. Do you have to buy each gun, or do you buy like plastic models of the guns themselves that are like replicas?
No, we don't buy the resin replicas. Resin changes shape over time. Just as it gets older, it shrinks some. It doesn't hold up to the friction of being put in and out of a holster. So it's been our practice from the beginning that if we're going to build a holster, we're going to buy the firearm. We're going to have it there. And every holster we make, we test fit, and then we adjust it so it's got that nice pop, satin pop. that way, when you get your holster, you've been waiting for a couple of weeks sometimes, and you get that rig and you put your gun in it for the first time, it fits. And it fits right. And now you might like it a little looser, a little tighter, but when you get it, it's going to fit right. And so that unboxing experience, but it also helps us identify if there's any issue with the holster, because our guys are going to test them. They know what a good holster feels like. They know what a good fit feels like, and everything gets inspected. So the maker, well, we had several steps. I mean, we mold the plastic. We trim it on a CNC machine, so we have excellent repeatability. We put the holes, screw holes in, the rivet holes in. Then that holster gets folded, riveted together. The edges get buffed. So we do have a lot of automation in our system, but the final touches of buffing that holster, making the edges smooth, and blending all the surfaces so everything comes together the way it should. That's done by a craftsman, and it takes me a while to train those guys. I get pretty sad when they leave, and but some of my guys have been with us for a long time.
Matt, that's a great question, because I was taking a tour of the plant. I came across it's like 3 foot by 3 foot table of all these pistols and all these lights. And I was trying to be professional. I really wanted to tell Scott that I would meet him back in his office like 3 hours later after I got to oogle all of the pistols. But I, of course, didn't do that because I was trying to make an impression. I even had a jacket on, and nice shoes and pants. And so I was like, yes, sir. That's pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, a lot of legitimates I saw myself, just every pistol imaginable, literally out there, inerted. Because I still have some scar tissue from being in the Marine Corps, and people have sticky fingers. And, if you leave ammo or real guns around, they may walk away. But yeah, it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat to see. If you ever get down this way, we'll have to, if Scott's fine with it, we'll have to walk you around. It's an impressive, it almost reminds me of the precision weapons section. A lot of he has down there, which is, for those that don't know, precision weapons section made all the sniper rifles for the Marine Corps for about 47 years.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, wait till you see what I got for my office, Scott. I got all kinds of stuff from them. But yeah, they've got a lot of CNC machines and a lot of capability. And your shop is we'll have to get Master Guns Kennedy up, because he would drool over your shop, because we got some better stuff than they do. But yeah, I mean, it's just a very high quality shop, very high quality operation, and you're putting out holsters probably at the quality of Marine Corps was putting out sniper rifles for a long time. So obviously you've had a great time doing this. It's sort of your life's passion. I think that this is sort of like, as I've gotten to know you, you got 4 kids. This is almost like the company's almost like your 5th kid, or an extension of yourself. What product did you have the most fun developing, Scott?
That's hard to say. I mean,
or products, because I've talked to you enough. You've shown me some things, and when you start talking about new products or innovations, you get really excited. Maybe it's a general category or a couple of different things, or maybe it's just game-changing products.
Well, not counting the ones that have not been released yet, that are not public knowledge yet, but because some of those I showed you already. And
yeah, I didn't say it, and I'm not pressuring you. You're the boss, not me.
I really had a good time working on the Phenom Stealth. What I was looking for was minimum bulk, superior performance, a specific use design. I mean, it's really set up for in the waistband, uh, w- with extreme quality is what I was looking for. Not just a quality of build, but the whole presentation. I want it to be exceptional. And when it was finally done, I was very happy with it. And right now, it's probably our best selling holster. And but all of this stuff, I just like solving those problems that others have with a product, and I like making things. And
You do, and you like making knives.
that's that's my serenity.
Yeah.
That's my hobby. And
Well, this is gonna be, Matt. This is gonna be CEO COO challenges. When I start taking more of the daily ops, I'm gonna have to deal with the boss man when he wants to make more knives. And I'm like, Scott, how much money were you making on this? He's gonna be like, shut up, dude.
I might have to get a knife.
He's got, oh, dude, don't even talk to me about the knives he's got. And I'm gonna be counseled like, you're only here because I allowed you to be here. I'm making my own knives in my own shop. But Scott, we're about at an hour. But are you comfortable with maybe SHOT Show is just around the corner? I got added to the list to go to SHOT Show like the other day, and back at Weapons Training Battalion, Josh Gregg, my gunner, he would like, hey sir, SHOT Show, do you want to go? Or IPSC or Soft Week, and he'd always ask me if I wanted to go because he was going. And I always felt too guilty to go as the colonel and the CO. I probably shouldn't be going to Vegas, but now it's literally my job, and I'm excited. And I told everybody that I'm going. But Scott, are you comfortable maybe with giving any teasers or maybe just conceptual ideas on what you want to reveal or show or talk about at SHOT Show? It's literally, we're end of summer is here.
Well, there will be new product. One in the law enforcement category, tactical category, and a couple others.
And then after SHOT Show, I'm a SHOT Show newbie, but after SHOT Show, I mean, that'll be on our web store, on all our social media pages. We'll probably have a marketing campaign to make sure all the G code loyalists know what's going on. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you go to the website and as you hit the landing page, there'll be a little gizmo that pops up. If you put your email or your phone number in there, we'll keep you abreast of everything we're doing. And
one thing we didn't do is you mentioned it. Can you just give a shout out to the URL and tell people how, if they don't already know, you do have a large following and a lot of repeat customers, but can you tell everybody how to get their G code gear?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to the website, tacticalholsters.com, so tacticalholsters plural.com, that takes you to the landing page, and then all our products are up there. And we also have Instagram, Facebook, social media like that. So
yeah. So if they need us and need it to buy something from us, that's the way to do it, huh?
Absolutely. And if you go there and land there and sign up, you'll get 15% off for just showing up.
Actually, I literally did that. See, I didn't know that. That's good to know, because obviously I'm an employee, but I have to be a valued customer. And I went to get some merch, and I hit there's a wheel, but you could get 15%, and it gave me 15%. I felt very lucky. Is that?
Well, I'll give you a secret. Everybody gets 15%.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have told everybody, because I felt like I got some stickers and a hat and a t-shirt and Firebase for my Magpul magazines, but yeah, we'll see. But at the end of the day, whether they know it, it's all good, because they know it now, and hopefully it'll drive folks to great quality merchandise from a veteran-owned company, and it's good stuff. Matt, what do you got? I'm gonna turn it back over to the pro to close this out.
No, Scott, do you have any final words that you'd like to tell the listeners?
Well, I appreciate all the support everyone's given us over the years. I mean, if not for those folks, we wouldn't be here. So I'm very grateful. And I'm happy for all of the guys who have given us feedback over the years. Even if it's negative feedback, I want to hear it because that's what makes it better. So.
Absolutely. Well, Scott, I appreciate you coming on. Greg, congratulations on your new career.
I'm excited.
And to the
I'm
listeners,
excited that Greg's coming on too. So I'm really glad that we connected.
Yeah, no, it was a neat local connection. It's going to be neat, and I'm super excited to be able to finally have a great job and actually live with my family. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, me and Greg for the past 6 months, I've been like, hey, you've been putting your resume out, you've been doing these things, and like and I don't want to say I've been coaching him up, but I've been giving him.
You have.
Just because like I'm, he's my boot in getting out.
Right.
And so like my whole thing is I just want to make sure when people get out, they kind of are doing the right things.
Well, that's what I realized that you bring it up. Like, well, whether it's Scott and Scott sort in his story or you or me, one of the things that I've realized is, man, we have a lot to offer. It's scary. I've talked to people, relatively senior people that have told me they're scared or nervous about getting out of the Marine Corps. And I was on recruiting duty in Cleveland, and it was horrible. So anybody that serves 4 years, 20 years, 24, 27, 30, 34, I say thank you. And I'm not encouraging anyone to get out earlier than they want to, but man, people really do cherish and value military experience. Now, and again, and I say that having interviewed with multiple other folks other than Scott, who was in the military. But again, you just have so many opportunities that you don't realize. So if you're at a point where you think your time in service is over, do not worry about it, because you're going to do just fine. Because whatever service you were in, and definitely the Marine Corps, they set you up for success. So don't discount what you learned and how you were developed in the Marine Corps, because you're going to do just fine.
Yeah, I would just say, it's not going to be given to you. You still gotta put in the work.
You're right.
You have to put in the work. People aren't just going to hand it out. And you gotta find the right bits of, where do I bring value? Like, what are you trying to do? Where am I going to bring that value to my employer? They have a need that they have to fill, but you have to be capable of filling that need. So,
So Scott wasn't just swooned by my retired colonelness. I mean, I had to show up, and he asked me some questions, and I sent him about a 4 or 5 page prospectus on some things that he was interested in, and it took a couple interviews. But yeah, I mean, you gotta want to hustle.
Yeah,
you gotta earn it. But the service has taught you how to do that. Just don't. Yeah, to your point, I agree, Matt. Don't assume, but be confident. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. But to the listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed this. If you want to go check out G Code, we'll drop it in the notes. We're gonna tag them and collaborate with them on Instagram. But again, I hope you enjoyed this. We look forward to the next time, and have a good one.